Hello, my beautiful bookish people. My name is Victoria Mendes. You've come to the channel The Bookish Sock. I've been gone for a while, and in this video I'm going to explain why I've been so sporadic at coming back. And this video is going to be a little bit different because it's going to be more vlog style slash sit with me and chat. I don't know what to call it, but it's going to be different because I kind of miss what this channel way back in the day was originally founded on, which was daily vlogs to keep myself motivated to get myself out of a rut. So I think I'm going to start a second channel called TheBookishSockToo, T-O-O, because why not? So if you want to see more vlog style content, you can check out videos on that channel over there if you like this video. But for today, I'm just keeping it all in one. So before we start, I am going to do a little bit of self-care that I haven't done in a very long time, which is called brushing my hair and teeth and putting on makeup just for fun, because I haven't done that in a really long time. Oops. Do you ever just keep little things around that just make you smile and brighten your day and give you a little bit of extra pep in your step? Because this headband is one of those things for me. My face complete. Now time to do some more pampering and beat this face. So my camera done goofed, and all of the footage that I have while putting on my face is now gone, so that's fun. So let's redo this, shall we? In September of last year, I started dealing with another family member that had cancer. And I've been through the cancer loop with other family members before, and I've lost one of them to metastasized cancer. For that word, metastasized or metastatic cancer, it means that it's spread to other areas of the body other than where it originally formed. And it never gets easier dealing with that. So I was doing my best with what I could and trying to help take care of them and support my other family members who were also caring for them. And while I'm very thankful that I was able to be at home during all this, it was also really difficult. And when things start piling up on you like that, or at least when they start piling up on me like that, I get depressed. It's hard not to be when you're having a loved one ripped away from you and seeing them deteriorate right in front of your eyes. I mean, yes, everybody dies eventually, but it was too soon, and it was an incredibly difficult experience. So at the time, I was still trying to read, and up until the event of the death in December, I was able to read some, but after that, it's like I just completely shut down for a while. And everybody deals with grief differently. In my case, I can't seem to focus on anything. It's really frustrating because you know that things that used to bring you joy no longer bring you joy, and then you're left going, what am I supposed to do to have fun now? I need some fun in my life. And part of that healing process started for me when my husband and I, we had already bought our plane tickets to go see our in-laws, or I guess my in-laws, his parents, for Christmas. And they're out in California in San Diego near the beach. And for anyone that knows me, I am obsessed with the ocean. I have asthma and vocal cord dysfunction. Salt air is way easier for me to breathe, and San Diego doesn't have nearly as many allergens as Ohio does, so having to not have to take my medicine while there was awesome, and it helped me literally feel better, and it helped my mental state too. So that was nice, but I still didn't feel like I was reading enough or that I was concentrating enough to give my thoughts on books, which was really difficult because I still really enjoy YouTube, but at the same time, with me still having really hard problems concentrating to read, watching booktube became frustrating because I was able to add so many things to my TBR, but also I couldn't read any of them, and then it just created this frustration level where I really wanted to be able to read and I couldn't, and then I was watching other people enjoying reading and I'm like, why can't I read? I really want to read, and it was just making a really bad feedback loop. So, and during all of this I was also getting counseling. So, and by counseling I mean therapy, and by therapy I mean a licensed person who deals with mental health to help me get through it with specifically cognitive behavioral therapy. So I just decided, and I didn't really discuss this with my therapist, but I was like, this is not helping me, it's actually hurting me, I need to step back from this. So I did that for a while, and things started to get better. I started to be able to concentrate again, and then my health tanked again. If you've been around my yeah, right, as if I would ever have children. Not that there's anything wrong with having children, they're just not for me. If you've been around my channel from the beginning, you know that this started as a healing process for me because I was going through a lot of health difficulties. And then also at some point, was it in 2018 or 2019? It must have been early 2019 because that's when I found out that my thyroid wasn't functioning because I had lost half my hair and I was really lethargic all the time, and I knew it wasn't depression at the time because I was really enjoying everything going on in my life. So I got hit with that. I got on levothyroxine, I started getting better, and then everything with my family member dying happened, and then I feel like I'm starting to recover from that. And then all of a sudden my joints stop working, and my legs are in pain, and my elbows, when I go to work out, feel like they're dislocating, which is really strange because it feels exactly like my kneecap's dislocating or subluxing because it's not a full dislocation. Because when I was a kid, I was diagnosed with loose ligaments in my kneecaps. Well, around my kneecaps. They can't technically be in your kneecaps. So I had worn a brace, and then in college I got a leg injury, and then I ended up going to physical therapy, and then my legs got a lot better. And that physical therapist actually told me, hey, if you strengthen the muscles around your kneecaps, you may not need to wear your brace for most things anymore, except for a full squat, because full squats are really, really hard to do when your kneecaps don't work right. So I go, okay, my elbows feel a lot like my kneecaps, which is weird because there are no such things as elbow caps. And also I started losing feeling in these two fingers. These ones I didn't notice as much, and it's been really off and on over the course of a year of this thing happening. And I don't know, in the spring it just the winter and spring, it just kept happening more and more. And I noticed it more in this hand because on this hand, I don't know if the camera will focus. Evidently not. Oh, maybe a little bit. Right here, you can see maybe I have a scar from where I dropped a canning jar as I was cleaning it, which is a large glass jar. It was a half-gallon jar. And it was really slippery, and I dropped it, and I tried to save it as I was dropping it into a metal sink, and as you can imagine, that didn't go well, so I partially severed the nerve in this finger. So this tip of this finger being numb is no new deal for me. I've had that for years now. But this finger was a little weird, and my left side I've never had a problem with, and I started having problems with my left side, and I'm going, that's weird. I haven't hurt any of my nerves in this hand. And then it started to become not just going to the gym and lifting weights particularly in a lat pull down, it became I can't pick up a jug of milk with one hand, which was extremely frustrating. If you know me, you know that I really like to cook. And suddenly I couldn't really cook anymore because I couldn't lift things to cook with. So here we go with the frustration train all over again, but because it's not just purely depression, I'm starting to get back to reading while also dealing with whatever's going on with my arms. So I decided to go to physical therapy because physical therapy has helped me in the past. The first session kind of goes okay. The stuff that they give me for arms doesn't really help me, and they tell me that the problems in my arms, they don't know that they'll be able to help me with because what I'm describing is more of an occupational therapy problem, and I may need to go see an occupational therapist, but my problems aren't so bad that I can go see an occupational therapist yet because I'm still able to feed myself. This is beyond frustrating at this point. So the first session I'm like, okay, well, I'll stick with it and try another session and see how that goes and see if any of this starts helping me improve, because it could take a few weeks to start to see improvements because I'm working on building muscle to help with my ligament issues. So, and I already know that I can lift because I'm still kind of able to do at least 50 to 70 pounds in the gym, like I've always been able to do. But my arms start deteriorating to the point where I can't do those weights anymore, even though I know that muscularly I can. So I go back to physical therapy and I do another therapy session. And it's targeted on my legs in particular because we really want to make sure that my knees are tracking. And then that landed me on my butt for 2 weeks doing prescribed physical therapy. And this isn't even with me doing the homework. This is just me doing the physical therapy session. It did not hurt at the time, but it hurt a lot afterwards, and it didn't make sense. It made 0 sense to me. I go, okay, I've already been watching a few YouTubers with disabilities. This is probably based off of the fact that I have autoimmune issues already with asthma, and I have vocal cord dysfunction, so I can't breathe in or out. I have problems with my thyroid, so I'm on thyroid medication already. I know that I have loose ligaments. That's been diagnosed since I was an early teenager in like 7th or 8th grade. Okay, and now I'm really tired, and doing things that should make me feel energized and should help me are landing me on my butt. And now I'm really tired and I'm not repairing properly, and I've had problems with migraines the past couple years, but especially when it rains, I'm having even more issues. So what on earth could be going on? So I think, this is sounding a lot like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Scarily like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Or maybe another autoimmune dysfunction, because if you have one autoimmune disease, chances are you have another. So I'm going, well, okay, I'll talk to my doctor and get a referral, and he goes, yeah, sure, I'll set you up with a rheumatologist. It sounds like something's going on, but I can't diagnose you, so let's send you to someone who might be able to. So I get set up with rheumatology. I visit the rheumatologist. They go, well, the fact that you can't feel things in your hands makes it sound more like neurology. So I get a referral for neurology. So I go do this neurological test that'll say whether or not it's a neurological problem in my fingers, even though I know that they still work and I can still kind of feel something, but it feels like they're half asleep sometimes, but not others, and it's not consistent, and I don't know why. And I go to this appointment. No one warned me what this test actually was. Even when I was in there, they just said, yeah, we're going to hook you up to some stuff and take some measurements. I'm like, oh, okay. And lo and behold, I can't remember the name of this test. It's an ECG, EMG, I don't know. It's something with an E and a I don't know. It's electrical stimulus stuff. And they hook me up to electrical pads and needles. They start sticking me with needles. And they didn't warn me. I'm not that squeamish, like, and I have a very high pain tolerance. I was in boot camp and I started bleeding out my elbows, dripping blood onto the ground, and I didn't know that I'd hurt my elbows until my flight looked at me and they said, "Go to the medical tent, you're bleeding everywhere." I go, "Oh, oops." So I'm getting this test done and I am yelping and tearing up from the pain that I am going through. And at the end of this test, the doctor goes, "Okay, you're done." And I'm like, "Okay, but you just looked at my thing. Can you at least tell me if it's neurological or not?" And they go, "Well, I'm not here as a consultation. I'm going to send this back to your rheumatologist as requested. But I can tell you that I really don't think a neurologist would help you." So I'm going, "Okay, great." Now what? So then I go back to the rheumatologist, and my prediction was correct. I originally started out on this journey saying, wouldn't it be hilarious if I get diagnosed with another rare condition like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome? And I do. I just got caught off because my SD card was full. Oops, let's try this again. So I go back to rheumatology and they go, "Okay, do some tests for me. Like bending my thumb back to my arm like this. That's apparently not normal. I didn't know that. Or doing this with my fingers. Or doing that with my fingers. Or the fact that I've already been diagnosed with loose ligaments in my kneecaps. Or the fact that I can touch the floor with my hands while having straight legs. And the fact that my legs bow out instead of being like straight. And that my arms kind of bow out a little bit, but not much. I don't have huge hyperflexibility in my elbows. And the fact that my symptoms aren't really predictable because as I wake up on different days, I never know what kind of a day I'm going to have as far as pain, what I'm able to do, because it's just not consistent. Why is it not consistent? I don't know, but that's a thing. I should call this video Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome a rant. I don't know. It was just incredibly frustrating. And I'm glad that I have the diagnosis now. I kind of know what I'm dealing with, but rheumatology doesn't think that it's worth me going to a geneticist or a cardiologist really to see what else could be going on, because that wouldn't really change my treatment plan at all at the moment. But since I was diagnosed on April 1st, yeah, haha, April Fool's on me. I wish it was a joke. Ooh. But since I was diagnosed in April, at least I have been able to get back to reading some. I have been able to use reading as an escape now when I can't move without everything hurting. Oh, and I was also experiencing so much pain at the time that the rheumatologist also said, "Oh, and you might also have fibromyalgia," which is a catch-all term for you have pain and we don't know why. And the anti-inflammatory med has definitely helped some with that. And then on my second follow-up with rheumatology, I said, "Hey, the pain is somewhat more managed. At least I can sleep some now because I'm not in immense pain. But I'm still in a lot of pain some days, but not others. It's really hard to predict." And he goes, "Okay, well, just add Tylenol and see how that goes." And I'm in the middle of testing that theory. But through April to now late June, I've noticed even more problems with my circulatory system. So, you know, blood vessels. I even got a blood pressure cuff to test my theories, and I was correct. I am bottoming out my blood pressure when I sit up too fast or when I walk, and sometimes I can get up just fine, and then a couple minutes later it hits me, And for years I've had problems with regulating my body temperature the right way. Sometimes I'll be way too hot, sometimes I'll be way too cold. And especially if I haven't slept much, I'll get cold, and even stacking 4 or 5 really thick winter blankets on me when the house is 80 degrees doesn't even warm me up until I sleep. Really weird stuff. So I start looking into it more and more. I'm like, I really don't think this should be a thing. So I talk to my family doctor, and family doctor says, okay, get some compression socks because it sounds like you may have an orthostatic problem. So see if those help any, and get some other compression gear and braces for when you do have a bad day and you may need a little extra help, which those things do help to a small degree, but it's still really frustrating because there doesn't seem to be a fix for this problem. So I start looking more and more into it, listing my symptoms, reading stuff on the Ehlers-Danlos website, and I find this paper, which is a breakdown of an academic paper for layman's terms, and it basically says, yeah, a lot of Ehlers-Danlos patients have problems with migraines and circulatory issues and going hot and cold and all these things, and it's not predictable at all. And even sometimes if you do a tilt table test, it doesn't show up, but we still have these symptoms. So what could it be? And turns out they think it's the autonomic nervous system. If you don't know what the autonomic nervous system is, it's this part of your brain way back here at the base of your brain that controls breathing and heart rate and blood pressure, and I'm sure a bunch of other things because I'm not a doctor and I don't know this in detail. I only know the basic stuff that I learned in like high school. And I do have to concentrate on breathing sometimes, but I thought that was just an asthma and vocal cord dysfunction thing. No, these problems are sounding an awful lot like this thing I found. So I send this back to my doctor and I say, hey, this is sounding awfully familiar, and it's describing the vast majority of my symptoms, including the fact that when I start feeling like I'm gonna black out from like standing up or being standing, sometimes it even happens while I'm sitting. And like I can't, my vision changes, and sometimes I just get the vision change problems, which I am up to date on my prescription. It's not a prescription issue. Like, what is this? What? So I go, is there any treatment for this, or is the research too new? And I get a reply back the next day, and it says, the information is too new. This is in its infancy of study. I do want you to go back to a cardiologist since you already have a cardiologist locally. Just go ahead and call them up and schedule an appointment and see what tests they want to run. Chances are it could be POTS, which polystatic orthotachycardia syndrome, something like that. I'll put it here. Anyways, POTS is the thing where if you stand up, you start to feel faint because your blood pressure bottoms out, and sometimes your blood pressure will just randomly bottom out. There's also a lot of people that, let me back up a second. My mental therapist said, hey, normally this would be the exact opposite of what I would recommend, but go ahead and check out Facebook and Reddit groups for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, since it seems like you're not getting a whole lot of support from your care team. And since it's a rarer thing, that may be more helpful. So I check out these things and I say, hey guys, really new to this. I need help. I'm having all these symptoms. Is there anything that I can do? And they basically just said the same things that my doctor said, which was, put on a bunch of compression gear and just lay down because there's nothing you can do. Other than eat more salt, which was another thing that my family doctor told me to do. He was like, increase your salt intake just a little bit, see if that helps. I'm like, well, it helps sometimes, but then I start having water retention to the point of being uncomfortable, and I'm still having these almost fainting things. So now what? So basically, I'm in the process of figuring out what on earth is wrong with me. Still, we are months later and still trying to figure out what's going wrong and what new symptoms will crop up. I don't know, but I'm tired of getting them. So, in the meanwhile, since I'm still having fainting-ish symptoms, and after my husband had to catch me from falling down a few times and I fell across my house a few times too, I now have a cane because I don't actually pass out, I just get close to passing out, and I just need something to lean on to steady myself at the moment. Who knows how long that will be a thing? I don't know. So I have this cane, and I have another cane that folds up and fits in my backpack purse thing that I carry for when I'm out. And going for a 3/4 mile walk a few days a week is very difficult, but I'm still going to do it and keep on trying. So what I want to do on the other channel is more of taking care of myself and going on this journey with you of what the heck do I have medically going on today, and what can I do, and what workarounds can I find, and how do I take care of myself now that I've lost some mobility and independency. Because let me tell you, driving for 20 minutes right now, even if it's just a teeny tiny slight curve, makes me want to barf. Which is really difficult for me because I've always really enjoyed being able to drive. And now that's something that's also painful for me. So I need to learn new skills of how to cope and how to take care of myself, because lately I have not had a good mental self-talk to myself, and I've really been struggling with just on my bad days where I can't do anything about it, being really bad mental days, because I feel bad that I have to rely on my partner to take care of me. And yes, while the vows are in sickness and in health, I didn't expect to be this sick this early. And I personally have a really hard problem relying on anybody for anything because I have trust issues. So it's just thrown me for a loop. I feel I like constantly throw pity parties for myself, and I want to move past feeling the need to do that. So the best way that I found in the past was early on in this channel, where I was doing daily vlogs of self-improvement, because even though basically nobody was watching them, it gave me a task that I felt like I could accomplish, and putting it out there made me feel like it was some form of accountability. And since I stopped doing that, I haven't even been washing my face. And a lot of the times, I haven't even been brushing my teeth, and that's a problem. That's a big old problem. I would rather read 30 books in a month than brush my teeth. That's just a really bad habit that I need to stop. Why is it that I can escape into a book, but I can't give myself the time of day to wash myself, and other than drinking a load of water, because that does help with many things, but it's not going to fix the issue. But other than drinking water, I don't even feed myself good food anymore part of the time. Which isn't to say it's like I'm not eating. That's not the case. I'm just not eating what I would typically want to eat, because typically I would want to prepare things and I can't prepare things right now. It's a whole circle. So I guess I need some peace to hold myself accountable. So I think I'm going to go back to filming and editing it, and perhaps being able to see progress over that. And it's just a way to keep myself challenged. So if you'd like to be a part of that, check out the other channel. I will be making content for it soon enough. And just remember to take care of yourself, even if everything is off and everything feels wrong, you still need to take time to drink some water and brush your teeth and do basic normal hygiene routines. You are worth it enough for basic human hygiene, which is something I need to tell myself right now. So, just putting that out there, I guess. I'm not sure if I'll go back to review all the books that I've read during all this mess, but going forward, I would like to start doing more book reviews and book tags and stuff, because I need to get out of my own head and I feel the need to do something productive, and this is still something that I can do for the most part. The last week I've had a bunch of migraines and I haven't been able to lift stuff, so even setting up a camera has been really difficult. But on the days where I can do things, I want to try to do things. So hopefully I'll be back soon, and while I can't really stick to a schedule right now because I never have any idea what I'm going to feel like in the morning when I wake up, and by morning I mean noon, because I also can't fall asleep at a normal hour to save my life, and even when I do wake up at a normal hour, I still have the overwhelming need to nap. Schedules are a bad thing for me right now. So I can't promise when I'll be back or what I'll be back with, but I'm going to make an effort to be more out there more frequently. So if there are things that you would like to see from me, or questions that you have, or you just want to stop by and say hi, or if you've made it to this part of the video, go ahead and leave me a zebra emoji. And if you don't have a zebra emoji, go ahead and leave me a heart. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for sticking around for my rant. Bye!